When baking, your first step is to organize all of your ingredients and put all of your dry ingredients together. I like to weigh the flour on the digital scale to have a precise measurement. This is a science. It's not like cooking on top of the stove, so precise measurements are super important. In here, I've got the cake flour, some espresso. This is instant espresso. You're not going to use the espresso beans that are ground really fine. You want the instant kind for this. I've got some salt, baking soda, and baking powder. And cake flour is what's called for in this recipe. It has a lower protein content than all-purpose, so it will impact your results. So we're gonna just give this a quick whisk to mix it all up. That way when it goes into the wet ingredients, it will combine well without having to overmix. Room temperature ingredients are important when called for in a recipe. It actually does impact how it turns out. So my unsalted butter is at room temperature. I need to get this all nice and creamy before I add the sugar. So I'm gonna put it into my deluxe stand mixer. You'll also see that I have my egg whites are at room temperature, as well as the sour cream and the coffee. So just brew some strong coffee in the morning and let it sit out, and it will be perfectly at room temperature by the time you need it. Let's get this started. Our deluxe stand mixer has presets on it. I just need to get this mixed up for about a minute. So I'll reduce the time by 1 minute to get the butter nice and creamy. That's it. The butter is creamy, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a cup of sugar. We're gonna let this mix for 2 minutes until it's fully combined. Before we add the egg whites and the vanilla, just scrape down the bowl just to make sure there's nothing stuck. I have the egg whites and vanilla in the prep bowl already. Go ahead and add that. We're gonna give this a thorough mix. Next up, we add some sour cream. Full fat is gonna be best for a baking recipe like this. And I'll just keep mixing. Now that the sour cream's mixed up, we're ready to add the flour. So the flour mixture, we're gonna add slowly, and we're only gonna mix until it's combined. Use low speed here so you can watch and see how it's doing. See that it's mostly combined, so I'm going to go ahead and add my coffee and 1/3 of a cup of Bailey's Irish cream. If you don't want to use Bailey's, you can use extra coffee or coffee in place of it. So you can see the batter is nicely combined, and we're done with that part. So when you're done mixing, you can take your small mixing scraper and just kind of give a stir from the bottom to make sure that if there's any little bit of flour that didn't get incorporated, you can grab all of that. I can see this was a fine job. It smells really delicious. So I've got my muffin pan here. Go ahead and line it with little cupcake liners. And this makes, it says 14 cupcakes. So you're not gonna use all of the batter in here. You might be tempted to use it all, but you can't fill those cupcake liners more than 2/3 full because they do need place to rise, and you need to be able to frost them. So I've got my large stainless steel scoop. A full scoop is just about right for cupcakes. So what to do with that extra 2 cupcakes worth of batter? You can bake 2 more cupcakes, or I'm just gonna take a little tiny cake pan from our cake set, and I'll just bake a small cake that way. we go. Perfect. These are going to go in the oven at 350 for about 19 minutes. Now, one of the things that I love about this particular pan is it does have a little rim all the way around. So if you're baking anything like streusel, it's less likely to flow over the edge into your oven. Let's pop these in the oven and see what they'll look like. These just came out. They took just shy of 19 minutes, probably more than about 18 minutes. You can tell they're done when there's a little bit of spring. You can also take our cake tester, insert it in the center, and if it comes out dry without any of the batter, then you know it's done. So I'm just gonna pull these out. We want them to cool completely before frosting. So this is the stackable cooling rack. Just gonna let them cool here. You'll notice how much they crowned, by the way, with just that 2/3 full. So remember, if you had filled it straight to the top, it would have made a mess all over your pan. So keep that in mind as you're scooping out your batter. The cupcakes are cooling, so it's time to make frosting. I've got 2 sticks of room temperature unsalted butter. I've already mixed it for 2 minutes in the deluxe stand mixer. I've gone ahead and weighed the powdered sugar that we need, 480 grams. So we'll go ahead and pour all of that in. Frosting is what makes cupcakes amazing. Okay, now, this is the point where you need to just like test your ingredients. So we're putting some Baileys in the frosting, and I just need to make sure. Yep, it's good. So you're gonna go ahead and add some Baileys, about 3 tablespoons. If you don't want to use Baileys, you can just do extra coffee. This is some of that strong brewed coffee from before that was also in the batter of the cupcakes. And then a half teaspoon of the espresso. And then we'll do just a pinch. So I'm just gonna grab just shy of 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna go ahead and put that all together. Now, powdered sugar tends to fly, so the shield here will help keep it all under control. Let's give this a mix for, I'll let it go to the preset of 2.5 minutes. We'll just check it and see how it's going. Here we go. This is going to be delicious. Let's take a look. That yummy frosting. The frosting is done. So let's take a look. You will see the little specks in here. That is the coffee that we've added. You do have to test this too, definitely. That is amazing, so good. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add it to the bag. This is our decorator bag. And to fill it, what you'll do is just add it to a prep bowl or some sort of cup. Turn your bag like this so that it'll stay open and it'll make it easier to fill. Now, one thing you can do is put your frosting on a sheet of saran wrap and roll it up and insert that, but we're just gonna put it straight in here. These are really easy to clean up. Just add. So if you're gonna make your frosting up ahead of time and you need to refrigerate it, just pull it out and let it come to room temperature before frosting your cupcakes. And if you need to add a little more Baileys or milk to it to get it soft, that's okay. So reach for the top and you're gonna feel where that frosting is, and then you'll be able to squeeze it down. And I can see it's pretty well full. It comes with a Twix-It clip to help keep it secure, and we'll be ready to decorate just as soon as those cupcakes are cool. The cupcakes are cooled enough, we can go ahead and start frosting. So before I had filled this, I used this tip, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little squeeze until you start to see the frosting come right to the top. We don't wanna have an air pocket while decorating. There we go, see it? Okay, so apply even pressure at the top, and you're just gonna start on the outer side. Come all the way around. just like that. And then if you like, try some chocolate sprinkles. I like to do this in a bowl. That way, if I have anything that spills, we're good to go. Isn't that cute? We'll set it right on top of our wood cake stand here, and we'll go ahead and finish all the others.